Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're here for the first time, hi, my name is Sarah. I make videos about organization, lifestyle, and most recently, wedding planning. It is the peak of wedding planning for me right now. I'm about 5 months out, but sometimes I like to take a little walk down memory lane and go look at the things that I've already accomplished. One of those being engagement pictures and save the dates. I think for a lot of people, this is one of the very first things that they do in the wedding planning process. You kind of figure out what you want to do, your date, your venue, and you send out save the dates because I think now in this day and age, everybody has to travel for a lot of weddings, and the earlier you can send them out, the better it is, right? So this is one of the first things that we did. We took our engagement pictures, I think back in April of last year, so it's been about 9 months since we took them, and I still love them, and I still think that there are a lot of things that we did right and a lot of things that we didn't do right. So learned a lot along the way, and I'm here to share with you today all the tips and tricks that I have for getting amazing engagement pictures and a great save the date. So first off, save the dates, and even more than that, engagement pictures are not necessary. It's not a necessary thing that you need to do. Some people don't want to spend the money, which I totally get, but also a lot of wedding photographers will include an engagement photo session in their wedding photography package price. So if you're looking at some wedding photographers that do that, obviously you would have that. We actually flew our now wedding photographer out to Colorado to take our engagement pictures. I definitely wanted to celebrate this point in our life. We might not live here forever, and I really wanted to have pictures that were super Colorado. And getting into locations and all that, I'll kind of get into that a little bit later, but that was what we did. We flew our photographer out here, and now she's our wedding photographer, and that was just what made sense for us. A lot of people use their engagement pictures for Christmas cards. We didn't do Christmas cards this year. We would have used them for that, but we did use them for our save the date. First off, what to wear. This is one of the biggest struggles for me. We hadn't really set a lot of the big things about the wedding yet. So a lot of people will try to match the theme of the wedding with the engagement pictures. Like if you're having a black tie wedding, you'd be in a tux and gown in some sort of urban environment for your engagement photos. We didn't really have that set yet, and so I just kind of wanted something that felt like us, and we reflected that in what we wore. We basically did the 2-outfit approach. I know a lot of people do 3 outfits. I know my partner, and he was not going to be down for 2 outfit switches, so I just chose 2 outfits, one fancier one and one more casual one. For the more casual one, I wore a Free People kind of sundress with little sandals, and he wore, I think, a button-down jeans and little desert boot things. And then for the more formal one, I wore a floral maxi dress, and he wore a nicer button down tucked into a pair of slacks and more of a brogue style shoe. I would say that instead of matching, I would say color coordinate. So for me, I knew that both my partner and I both feel better in cooler tones. So blacks instead of browns, and blues instead of reds. I actually love wearing red, but I knew that he was not going to. So basically what I did was I went into our closet, really easy when you share a closet, and I just pulled out things that I that I thought would go well together. Obviously, it's a lot easier if you use your outfit and match him to you or her to you, whoever's more into style, I guess, and have them choose first and then coordinate the other person's outfit with it. That's what we did. So we ended up with a lot of grays and blues, and that was basically the color coordination for the whole thing. There is the added note of solids usually photograph better. And we kind of stuck to this. I wore a floral print dress, like I said, but the print was pretty large, and so it didn't take away too much from the whole look of the photo, and especially from things that were a little farther away, I think it looked actually really good. Choosing looks that both you and your partner feel comfortable and confident in, I think is really important and really pivotal to getting really great pictures. I'm not super comfortable in front of a camera. Chris definitely is not super comfortable in front of a camera. It's not his favorite thing to have pictures taken at all. So I wanted something that I knew he would like, and so I picked out those brogue kind of style shoes. I knew that he really liked those. So I put him in those because he really likes them and he loves getting the opportunity to wear them and blah, blah, blah. I think that choosing something that you both feel comfortable and confident in is going to make the whole process a lot smoother. Also keep in mind, like, if you're wearing something strapless and you constantly have to tug it up, or if you're going to be spilling out of a top or tugging up your jeans or something, and also wear comfortable shoes given your environment. All of those kind of things I think are part of the comfort thing. I think another thing to consider when picking out what you're going to wear is, where are you being photographed, and do you want to blend in or do you want to stand out? So if you're taking your engagement photos in an all-white marble room, a black evening gown or a black tux or whatever is really going to stand out. You're going to have that contrast. If you're getting your pictures taken in a forest, a deep dark red is going to be a nice contrast too. Alternately, if you want to blend in a little bit more, you can choose colors that are going to fit with the environment a little bit better. I chose a navy because I knew that in this particular setting we were going to be taking photos around sunset, and that the yellow and the blue would probably look really pretty together. There were also a lot of greens. We were outside, so greens, browns, yellows was really what I was going to want to highlight, in addition to keeping in a similar palette but not standing out too much. Like I said before, you can always choose your engagement photo outfits based off the feel of your wedding if you already know it. We kind of stuck to that because we're getting married outside, we took our photos outside. It's kind of semi-formal. We were kind of semi-formal, but also, you know, if you're not going to hang up a photo of you in your house in a full evening gown, don't take pictures in a full evening gown. There's no point, right? You have the added level of, you want these pictures to be something that you love forever while also being useful for like your save the date or your Christmas photos or whatever. But I think that having a good balance of not sticking to it too harshly, but if that is something that you really like the idea of, trying to work towards that as a goal of cohesion between the two. General kind of tips. We did some of this really well and some of this very badly, but the first one I think is a good one, and that is test run your wedding photographer. If you're like us, haven't had a whole lot of pictures taken in your life, kind of uncomfortable sometimes, there's a siren outside. Cool. If you're not super comfortable in front of the camera, having somebody and having that relationship with somebody before your wedding day can make a huge difference on your photos. We definitely found that by the end of the session, we were so much more comfortable and so much happier and so much more affectionate, even with the camera and a bunch of people actually. And so I think that test running your wedding photographer can be really, really useful because you have that relationship, especially if you are like us and you're awkward and not super like PDA focused. If you are a sappy person like I am, put on some music and get yourself into the feels. This is one of those things that I think people kind of underestimate, but when you have models on like an actual photo shoot, they're always playing music in the background. If you want your pictures to be really romantic, put on romantic music. Just like if you were on a photo shoot and you wanted your pictures to be really fierce, you would put on music that makes you feel fierce, right? So I think that putting on music in the background can really help, even if it's just from, you know, while you're driving to your shoot or anything like that. It can really set the tone and get you kind of in that mindset and make it a little bit easier for you to feel comfortable and to get the pictures that you want. My third tip is to pick locations that you like the look of in the season that you're in. This is one of the things that I kind of messed up on. So we had our engagement pictures taken in April. April in Colorado is really unpredictable. Sometimes it's gorgeous and sometimes it's freezing. So I chose one that I thought would be gorgeous in snow. And it did snow like 3 days after we took our pictures, and we would have had like a foot of snow in our pictures. But I didn't account for it in the fact that it was the dead of winter and everything was dead and it wasn't very pretty. Granted, I still love the photos because our photographer is amazing and I think they're really sweet and reflect our relationship and our personalities really well. But the better choice would have been to go visit them like a couple days before, which I didn't do. I just kind of found some things online, and for one of them, they worked out really, really well, which was Overlook Mountain in Boulder, which is just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. We had a perfect day, amazing weather, gorgeous sunset, perfect golden hour. It was just like amazing. The photos turned out so beautiful, and I think it was just, I should have visited the other place before or chosen maybe a better place. So my fourth tip for getting great engagement photos would be to choose your location and then use your least favorite location and your least favorite outfit first. You'll feel awkward probably in front of the camera. You might be just getting the hang of something. You're trying to build that relationship with your photographer. And this is actually a tip from a photographer. And she said, yeah, use your least favorite outfit first, because you might feel a little awkward and those photos probably aren't going to look quite as good as your last ones. That's what we did. And I'm so glad that we did, because she was totally right. I love the second photos. We were so much more comfortable, so much more engaged in each other. And I think that choosing my second favorite outfit, my second favorite location as the first thing that we actually did was a great tip. Lastly, tips for getting great engagement photos. If you're like us, bring some snacks and some beer. We stopped in between locations, and I think Chris inhaled about 3 slices of pizza. I also brought beer and snacks and stuff, and we actually have a really cute picture that came out of it. I think just doing all of those things, it's almost like having a kid. Doing all of those things and bringing the things that are going to make the process as seamless as possible is definitely the way to go. Now that you've taken your great engagement photos, you're probably going to move on to a save the date. If you're like us, we've been planning for about a year total, but have been engaged for about a year and a half, and this is the save the date that we ended up with. I had a really hard time with these actually. I didn't want to pay an arm and a leg, couldn't find anything that I liked. I kept looking, being like, I don't want to pay $250 for save the dates. I kind of like this one, but I can't really customize it. I designed this logo that's kind of going to be throughout our whole wedding, and I didn't want to not include that. And I was just having so much difficulty. Also, I knew that I wanted this specific picture, which is us in front of this really gorgeous tree. And I knew that I wanted that to be the picture with the save the date, and that made it even harder, even more difficult. Anyways, I ended up just designing them myself. And I think they turned out nice. They're pretty basic, honestly. And they're just normal 5x7 in an extra heavy satin cardstock, I think is what it is. I ended up paying about $100 for 80 save the dates sent. So that was including envelopes and the postage, which I think is pretty darn good. A lot of other places that I was looking at was like $150 for 80 save the dates, minus envelopes, minus postage. So we've gotten some really great feedback about our save the date, specifically about these photos. I think it's really fun to kind of include something on your save the dates that isn't quite so like lovey-dovey. This is like really pretty. I'll insert a close-up. There's like a rock, this big tree, and then we're kind of close, almost kissing, but not quite. And I think that's kind of cool because I just felt weird about like having pictures of me kissing like on somebody's fridge. And if that's your thing, that's totally fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I know that I'm like a lot more likely to include something if I can kind of like see like this, we're just kind of smiling. If I can see something other than like PDA, like I said before, we're just like not super into that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being into that, but that's just who I am and who my partner is and who we are together. And so having some photos that are kind of far away, some closer together, some really lovey-dovey, and there's some that are, you know, really, really close shots of our heads, like this, the whole shot is like our faces basically, and I love those. But also I'm really glad that we had some further away ones, because if we just had all of those, I don't think I would have printed them. I don't think that I love having them. They're so special to me, and they're so romantic and so kind of intimate almost, that I would feel weird sending them out to other people. So I think it's really nice to try to include some ones from further away if you have that same sort of inhibition that we have, I guess. And I think that's why I really like these, is because they're so us. They're pretty clean, pretty simple, very like outdoor focused. And it's also funny, I look about the same height as Chris does, which is so not true. He's about a foot taller than me, but we look really tall because I'm standing on this big rock on this picture. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of clarity on our process and kind of what I think made or broke our engagement photos. Overall, it was so much fun, and like I said, we ended up going with our photographer, Olivia Marie Photography, for our wedding, which we're so excited about. She has like an amazing, really kind of bright, happy style and vibes so well with us, and my fiance really likes her. She's super professional. It's just, you know, all those things that you want out of a photographer, she totally is, which is really exciting. Before I get to like this video and subscribe if you want to see what's next as far as organization, lifestyle, and planning, specifically wedding planning goes. Can't believe that the date is less than 5 months away. Gives me a little bit of heart palpitations, but like in a good way, mostly. And we're just really excited. So yeah, see y'all next time. Bye.